Have you ever wondered how a city built in the middle of the desert became one of the richest places on Earth? A city with artificial islands visible from space, where police officers drive Lamborghinis, where skyscrapers look like something straight out of a science fiction movie, and where millions of people dream of living. But here's the craziest part. Most people think Dubai became rich because of oil, but that's not actually true. Today, oil makes up only a small part of Dubai's economy, so the real question is, if it wasn't oil, how did Dubai become so rich? The answer involves a tiny fishing village, visionary leaders, billion-dollar bets, financial crises, and a strategy so bold it could have destroyed everything. Instead, it transformed a patch of sand into one of the most famous cities on the planet. To understand this story, we need to go back in time. Long before the skyscrapers, long before the luxury hotels, long before the supercars, back when Dubai was just a tiny dot on the map. In the early 1900s, Dubai was a simple community. There were no modern roads, no airports, no giant buildings, and almost no wealth. Most people survived through fishing. But there was one industry that kept the region alive: pearl diving. For centuries, men dove into the waters of the Persian Gulf searching for natural pearls. It was dangerous work. Divers spent minutes underwater without breathing. Many returned empty-handed. Some never returned at all. But when they found a rare pearl, it could be worth a fortune. For a long time, this was Dubai's main source of income. Then something happened that nobody saw coming. On the other side of the world, in Japan, a businessman named Kokichi Mikimoto discovered a way to produce cultured pearls. Suddenly, the entire market changed. Cultured pearls were cheaper, easier to produce, and soon they dominated global trade. Natural pearls lost their value. Dubai's economy collapsed. Within just a few years, the city's main source of income had almost disappeared. It looked like the end. But that was exactly when the transformation began. Dubai's leaders realized something important. If they didn't have enough natural resources to compete with other regions, they needed another advantage. They needed to attract people. They needed to attract merchants. They needed to attract money. So they started making different decisions. They lowered taxes, made trade easier, created an environment where business could thrive. Slowly but surely, merchants from across the region began arriving, and this created an invisible advantage. While other cities depended entirely on natural resources, Dubai was becoming a trading hub. But nobody could imagine what was about to happen next. In 1966, everything changed. That was when oil was discovered. And it wasn't a small discovery. It was like finding a winning lottery ticket buried beneath the sand. Money started pouring in. A lot of money. Billions of dollars. Suddenly, Dubai had the resources to completely change its future. Most countries would have done the obvious thing: pump oil, sell oil, get rich. End of story. But Dubai's leaders saw something that many others didn't. Oil was valuable, but it wouldn't last forever. One day the reserves would run out, or lose importance, or be replaced by new technologies. So they asked themselves a simple question: what do we do before that happens? That's when the man who would change Dubai forever stepped onto the stage. Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum. He had a simple vision: use oil money to build something that could survive after oil. Instead of spending all the wealth on immediate luxury, he invested heavily in infrastructure: ports, roads, bridges, airports, everything that could generate wealth for decades to come. At the time, many people thought he was making a huge mistake. Why spend billions building things that nobody might use? But Sheikh Rashid thought differently. He didn't want to sell oil forever. He wanted to turn Dubai into a place the world couldn't ignore. It was a massive gamble, and it started working. Businesses arrived, investors arrived, more people moved to the city, and that created a domino effect. More businesses created more jobs attracted more people attracted more businesses. Growth accelerated faster and faster. But there was still a problem. Dubai was relatively small. How could it compete with giants like London, New York, or Hong Kong? The answer was brilliant. Don't compete. Be different. Very different. Dubai decided it needed to capture the world's attention, and to do that it started building things that seemed impossible. The most luxurious hotel on earth, the most impressive shopping malls, the tallest building in the world, the most famous artificial islands ever created. Everything had to be bigger, bolder, more spectacular. Because Dubai's leaders understood something about human psychology. People don't pay attention to ordinary things. They pay attention to extraordinary things. When people see something that looks impossible, they want to talk about it. They want to tell their friends. They want to see it for themselves. Dubai turned that idea into a strategy. Every new project became global news. Every new record attracted more investors. Every new investor attracted more businesses. And every new business attracted more wealth. It became an almost perfect cycle. But there was a hidden danger. The more the city grew, the more people believed it would never stop growing. And whenever everyone believes something can only go up, a bubble begins to form. In the early 2000s, Dubai's real estate market exploded. Buildings appeared everywhere. Investors bought apartments without ever seeing them. Some people purchased properties only to sell them weeks later for a profit. It felt like easy money. It felt like prices would rise forever. But history shows that almost never happens. Then came 2008, the global financial crisis, one of the biggest economic crashes in modern history. Banks failed, companies collapsed, investors panicked, and money started disappearing. Suddenly, buyers vanished, projects were canceled, property prices crashed, billions of dollars evaporated. For a moment it looked like Dubai's dream was over. Experts started predicting total collapse. But Dubai survived. It restructured debt, received financial support from neighboring Emirates, reorganized major projects, and eventually returned to growth, stronger, smarter, more experienced. Today, when people think about Dubai, they think about oil, but that's actually the most interesting part of the story. Oil wasn't the secret. It was just the starting point. The real secret was what they did with the money. Imagine two people. One becomes rich and spends everything. The other uses that wealth to build businesses that generate money for decades. Dubai chose the second option. It transformed temporary wealth into permanent wealth. It used oil money to build an economy based on tourism, trade, transportation, finance, technology, and logistics. Today, millions of tourists visit Dubai every year. Millions of passengers pass through its airports. Global companies maintain offices there. Investors continue arriving. New projects continue launching. And all of it exists because Dubai understood a lesson many countries never learned. Natural resources do not guarantee wealth. Strategy does. Many places discovered oil. Very few turned that opportunity into something much bigger. What truly made Dubai rich wasn't what was buried beneath the sand. It was the ability to imagine a different future, and then convince the rest of the world to believe in that future. When you look at the Burj Khalifa, when you see the artificial islands, when you see a city shining in the middle of the desert, you're not just looking at steel and concrete, you're looking at one of the greatest economic bets in modern history, a bet made by leaders who believed a patch of desert could become a global center of wealth. And the most incredible part? Against all odds, they were right. Dubai didn't become rich because it found oil. Dubai became rich because it turned oil into opportunity. And that may be the biggest difference between temporary wealth and lasting wealth. One comes from luck, the other comes from vision.